Okay. Whenever you're ready, introduce yourself, and then we'll start chatting.
All right, my name is Pearse Branigan. I'm co-founder and head coach of Detroit Imperial Futsal. We are the current defending champs of the FCS, and we are looking forward to year one of the new and revamped FCS.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys have had quite a journey to this point, and let's start with how you got here in the first place. Tell us a little bit about how the club started, and give us kind of a little bit of background on Detroit Imperial.
Yeah, so when we started, we were actually with Francois in Midwest, and we had played for him for about 5 years. I was personally with the club for 2.5. Francois is a great guy. We just, between us and myself and Davide, we stopped seeing eye to eye on certain things, and we decided it was best for us to just part ways. Best for him, best for us, go about our separate businesses. So a year and a half ago, we started Detroit Imperial Futsal, Davide and I, and we brought in a group of guys, and we just started training every single day and playing as many games a year as we can, and just leaving it all on the court. That's really our brand, is going all out, leaving everything on the court. And we play for passion, we play for pride, and we play for the love of the game, and that's what I think everyone sees when we play. I know we get a little hot-headed sometimes, but that's because we're passionate about the game. We love the sport, and that's just who we are. And we can't take that away from us, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys definitely have a passion on the court. I refer to it as a Detroit toughness. That it kind of feels like you guys take on the personality of the city, and I think that says a lot about your guys' fan connection. Watching you guys in other leagues last year, your fan base seems really excitable and behind you guys as well. Can you talk a little bit about the culture of the club and how you fostered that in this short period of time?
Yes, I mean, we've really been looked at as underdogs, not necessarily in the leagues we play, but in life in general and everything we've done. We've kind of had to build everything ourselves and rise up from nothing to create something, and I think that's kind of the story of Detroit, especially the rebirth Detroit's going through right now. And a lot of the people in our club, the parents, the kids, the fans, they resonate with that, and they feel that we're giving everything when we play on the court, and they just buy into it. If we're giving everything and we're putting all of our energy into it, it's just natural that in return that the fans are going to give same energy and same support back. So, we're still young. A lot of our fans are parents of our youth academy and family and friends, but for the fan base that we do have, they give a lot, and we love them.
Tell me a little bit about not only it's great context. It's great context what you have as far as the culture within the club. Tell me about some of the outside influencers. Where do you guys pull some of your influence from your culture and your style outside of the city of Detroit?
Well, so the nice thing is we're a very diverse group of people in a sense that the vast majority of our players were born in America, but they have roots in another country. So my roots come from Ireland, Davide's comes from Italy, someone like Omar is Morocco, we got Greece, we got Middle Eastern countries, African, Asian, South American. So we're more or less building this culture and of everyone and one common goal, which is to compete at the highest level in futsal. So we take the best from our Brazilians and the best from our Iraqi players and the best from our Italian players and put it into one and come to a common consensus and then ball out.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that's impacted the strategy of the team? Having that melting pot of countries that develop your internal culture is certainly an American story as well as a local Midwest United States story. But tell me a little bit about how that translates to your guys' on-court play.
Well, I think for one, that helps with the passion, because for a lot of these players, futsal and soccer in general is just in their blood. It's what they do. It's the sport for their country. And so when they come over here and they're having to compete against top level teams, it's just natural. We're gonna get aggressive. We're gonna get going. And then the guys who are more quote unquote average American, they have to buy into it, because you have to match your energy or you can't compete at this level. And then other than that, like tactics and rotations and stuff like that, we're a very open book at Imperial. Davide and I spend a lot of time studying the game as well as some of the other players. We invite them to come and study with us at our facility. We'll oftentimes just watch film and discuss and even sometimes argue about things we've seen in general, and then come to a common consensus, what happened, what potentially should have happened, and how do we fix it, and then we move on and we apply it as a group. So there's some times where I'm coaching and I'm giving instructions, and the guys have to follow my lead, and there's other times where I give space for an individual to add his influence into the game, his 2 cents, and we can kind of meet in the middle and figure it out, because I think that's the best way. I'm still learning the game as the players are learning the game as well, so I think we all have each other's backs, and that's our best way to grow.
What are some tactics the fans can expect to see from you guys while you're on the court? What's kind of your guys' go-to strategy that they can expect that you guys have really mastered out there?
I don't want to give too much away because I know everyone's trying to beat us this year, but for us, you can always expect an aggressive style of play. Oftentimes we're pushing that foul limit right to the brink, if not going past it or getting guys sent off. And like I said, that's not something we're going to change. We've bought into how aggressive we can be, and we've tweaked how we defend and how we attack towards that aggressiveness. I don't want to go into any more, because at that point I'd be going into like rotations and stuff like that, and then anyone else who listens to this could go home and study and figure out ways. But I think the league is going to be impressed with how we play again. We're always a fun team to watch, whether we win or whether we lose. So it's get used to it, I guess, is a good way of putting it. We're not changing. We're going to be aggressive. We're passionate about the game, and love it or hate us, we're good, and we're going to continue to do it.
You guys obviously have a big target on your back this year. You're at the top of the mountain. What is kind of the internal conversation amongst you and your players about keeping that intensity and repeating this year?
Yeah, so for us, obviously our goal is to always just continue to win games and play at our highest level. And I always tell the guys, if we leave everything on the court and we played at the highest ability and we get beat, sometimes that's the game. Sometimes you have one that goes off the bar and they put one goal into the net, and that's the difference. Or sometimes you're just completely outclassed. Fair enough. What we are trying to avoid now going into the second season is complacency and being comfortable. Yeah, we're champions, but we still have lots to achieve and lots to prove, right? We went to the national tournament, didn't do too well there. So we still have a ways to go, and we have the group that's capable of doing it, and just keeping them accountable for how they play on and off the court. The other goal for us is to start integrating some of our younger players and our reserve players into the game as well, giving them time, because we're trying to constantly expand our squad. We don't want to have to rely on the same 5 guys every game. If we can put, 8th, 9th, 10th guy in as the starters and know that they're good, then that's what we want to do as well. So expect to see a combination of us playing our best lines and switching things up this year to get everyone more time and more development.
That's awesome. What games on the schedule do you guys look most forward to this season as we get into, we've talked a lot today about how it's a new structure, a more traditional regular season. There's travel involved, not anything that you guys are not accustomed to, obviously, with your history, but are there games on that schedule that you have circled that this is a big weekend we want to make sure we give 120% of our focus to?
Yeah, obviously the big one for us has got to be Olay. When we played Olay last year in the NFPL, they got the better of us twice, and we got the better of them once, and then they won their respective leagues. So they're coming into this league as champions of another league that we also played in, so I think that's going to be a huge grudge match for us. Other ones that we look forward to is Lansing. They're always tough. I think we've built kind of a rivalry between our 2 teams there. And then, Midwest is always fun to play because it's like we're playing against our old selves in a sense. And in the meantime, I still love and appreciate Francois and what he's done. So it's always good to see him and see what he's putting together too, on and off the court. So those are the big games that are on our radar. Obviously, we're trying to take every game seriously. Jingo is going to be nice because we've played them once in a preseason friendly, but obviously between now and then when we play them in the opener, it's going to be a little different. So I'm curious to see what they have to bring to the league this year.
Absolutely. New landscape in a lot of ways this year, but you guys have done a lot and have stayed active in a way that I think definitely sets you up for success this year. So it's really exciting to see what you guys are going to bring to the table this year. I think it's going to be exciting for the fans. And like I said before, you're an easy team to get behind because you're exciting to watch and you have this identity that feels like it's a natural identity. With that in mind, what do you guys think about the current landscape of futsal as a whole in the United States? What do you see is the current, you've seen a couple of different leagues now and you've played in a few different tournaments. What's kind of your take on where we're at in this country?
Well, how much time do I have? Because we could be here all day talking about it. But I guess to summarize it without getting too political and stepping on anyone's toes, I think futsal has a lot of growth still left to the wayside right now. And I think that's because people are prioritizing their own wealth and their own pockets over the game. And in turn, that causes, one group to go do their thing and another group to go do this thing. They're even having it at a national level. Well, we have one federation doing one thing, another federation doing another, and, people just refuse to talk to each other. I think the biggest thing right now that U.S. futsal in general, for the game to grow, is people have to start coming together and having an honest conversation. How are we going to grow the game? What are our goals for the game in the U.S.? And how do we move forward achieving that together as a unit instead of wasting our resources, one person doing one thing, one person doing another. That's why the FCS is great. We're here right now. We spent the entire morning, all pooling our knowledge together. And, Jeremy told me when he called us back in, he's like, one of our big things is we really want to just help promote and grow the game as a unit. Obviously on the court we're rivals, we're separate teams competing against each other, but off the court, let's work together to build the game. And I think that's a really good start for where we need to go. Obviously we have a lot of work to do, but that's a step in the right direction, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
That's awesome. With that in mind, where do you see things moving in the future? What's kind of your view for the future of futsal in this country?
I think the next big step for the future of futsal is, realistically, if we want the game to grow, the youth system is okay. Obviously, it could be better, but I think the biggest thing is that we need a professional league for the men's. We have the privilege of playing in a pro league here with the FCS, and we get to play 10 games a season. But a lot of the teams nationally, they don't have that privilege. A lot of teams, they go and they play at a regional tournament, or they go and compete in Vegas, and that's their season. They compete regionally or nationally, so they have 4 to 8 games a year, and that's them done. And I think to help alleviate that, we need to set up not just an FCS in this region, but maybe an FCS out west, out east, and then the winners can play each other. And I think we just have to start promoting more games as well. Obviously, we can't do that right away. We don't have the infrastructure, we're still building, but I think that's the goal that we should go towards, is one national league under one banner. Yeah, obviously you have different, call them conferences or whatever. You play 30 games a season, and then the best teams play each other in a final. I think that's where we need to go for development at the men's level, and then that can help connect to the national pools. It'd be easier for someone like Dusan, who's saying, it was hard for him to recruit when he was in charge. It'd be easier for him when he can go and watch all these men's teams play each other week in and week out. So that's where I think we need to go with the game, and part of that is just building the access to it as well. I love that we're doing live streaming, getting the word out there. More eyes have to get on this sport. Everyone I know who's like, what's futsal? I'm like, well, instead of me explain it to you, just come watch. And they watch, like, this is the greatest sport ever. It's like basketball and soccer and hockey all in one. I was like, yeah, it should be the American sport, in my opinion. So I think we just gotta get more eyes on it as well, and that'll help propel us the right direction.
I love the vision, and I love what you guys are doing with the club at Imperial, and I think the fans do too. Obviously, you guys have a great following, like I mentioned before, and real big mountain. You've already climbed the mountain. Now you got to fend everybody else off that's climbing it. So It's going to be an exciting season, I think. We're all really excited to see how you guys do. Thank you so much for spending some time and letting us feel some of that internal identity of the club, Pearse.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my voice.
Of course. Yeah, have a wonderful season.
Yeah,
Best of luck.
Thank you.